Every single day, there's a battle happening inside your head. A battle between your potential and your past, between your vision, your fear, between who you are right now and who you're truly capable of becoming. Most people lose that battle, not because they're weak, not because they're not smart enough, because no one ever taught them how to control their mind. Think about it, how many dreams have died, not because they were impossible, because someone's mind whispered, you can't do it. How many times have you felt something inside you saying, I know I'm meant for more? But then another voice said, be realistic. That's the prison most people live in, the prison of their own thoughts. But here's the truth I want you to really feel deep in your soul. If you can learn to control your mind, you can completely change your life. You can rise above fear, rewrite your story, and design a life that's not controlled by circumstance, but by choice. So today, I'm not just going to give you motivation. I'm going to show you the path to mental mastery, because when you master your mind, you master your emotions, your actions, your destiny. So I want you to lean in, block out every distraction, and listen, not just with your ears, with your heart, because what we're about to talk about could literally change the direction of your life forever. You know, the first step in mastering your life is mastering your inner dialogue, because whether you realize it or not, your mind is talking to you all day long and never shuts up. It's constantly feeding you words, ideas, and meanings, and those meanings are shaping everything you do. The question is, who's in control of that voice? Is it you? Or is it your fear, past, your conditioning, your self-doubt? Most people never stop to ask that question. They just live on autopilot. They wake up, check their phone, and immediately the mind starts, I'm tired. I don't have enough time. I'll never catch up. I'm not where I should be. And by 8 a.m., they've already lost the day, not because of what happened outside, but because of what happened inside. Your life is a reflection of the conversations you allow in your head. If you constantly tell yourself you're not enough, you'll find evidence for it everywhere. But if you decide to direct your focus toward growth, possibility, and gratitude, your mind becomes your greatest weapon instead of your worst enemy. You become what you focus on. That's not poetry. That's a law of life. Whatever you hold in your mind consistently you move toward. If you focus on problems, you'll see more problems. If you focus on opportunities, you'll start spotting doors that others can't even see, because your brain is like a filter. It deletes, distorts, and generalizes based on what you believe is important. So if you tell yourself over and over, I'm not good enough, your brain will make sure you keep seeing proof that you're not. But the moment you shift that internal command to, I'm growing stronger every day, your mind begins searching for evidence to support that too. It's not magic, it's psychology. Think about it, every decision you've ever made came from a thought. Every feeling you've ever had was triggered by the meaning you gave to something. Every result in your life right now is the outcome of those repeated patterns of thought and emotion. You cannot live a positive life with a negative mind. You can't plant seeds of doubt and expect a harvest of confidence. You've got to become the gatekeeper of your mind. When a thought comes in that doesn't serve you, when it says, you can't, you're too late, you'll never make it, you've got to stop and ask, who's speaking right now? Is this the voice of truth or the echo of fear? You've got to challenge it, because here's the thing, not every thought that passes through your mind deserves your belief. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's real. Your mind throws out thousands of thoughts a day. Most are recycled, most are emotional noise. The moment you start observing those thoughts instead of reacting to them, you start to take back your power. And power begins with awareness. The moment you become aware of what you're saying to yourself, you can start to redirect it. When you catch yourself saying, I always mess things up, stop, reframe it. No, I'm learning how to do this better. When your mind says, this is too hard, shift it. This is how I grow stronger. That one shift from victim language to empowerment language can change everything, because language is not just a description of your reality, it's the creation of it. Seen people break free from decades of limitation simply by changing their inner dialogue. A man who spent his whole life saying, I'm just not confident, started saying, I'm becoming more confident every day. And within weeks, he was standing differently, speaking differently, showing up differently. Why? Because the mind listens. The words you speak internally become instructions to your nervous system. If you keep feeding it fear, it'll protect you by holding you back. If you feed it courage, it'll move you toward action. So ask yourself right now, what are you saying to yourself every single day? What stories do you keep repeating that no longer deserve to be true? Because maybe the only thing standing between you and the life you want is one old, outdated belief that's been whispering in your head for years. The moment you challenge that voice, you begin to see who's really in control. You. And I'm not talking about blind positive thinking. I'm talking about conscious direction. You don't ignore reality. You decide what reality means. You can look at failure and say, I'm done. Or you can say, this is my lesson. You can look at pain and say, this is punishment. Or you can say, this is preparation. The event doesn't define you. The meaning you give it does. And meaning is created by your inner dialogue. If you want to transform your life, start by transforming that voice inside you. Treat it like training a muscle every morning before the world grabs your attention. Grab your own speak power into your day. I am focused, I am capable, I am grateful. I am becoming better. Don't wait to feel good to speak strong. Speak strong and the feeling will follow, because your words shape your state and your state shapes your life. Your inner dialogue can either be your prison or your passport. It can trap you in fear or it can lead you to freedom. And the beauty is you get to choose. So from this moment forward, make a decision. Decide that you are no longer going to let that negative voice run your life. You are not your thoughts, the thinker. You are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. And when you master that truth, when you learn to direct your inner dialogue, you don't just change your thoughts. You change your entire life. You know, of the greatest powers you'll ever develop is the ability to separate what's happening in your life from what you feel about it. Because most people don't realize what destroys them isn't the event itself, it's the meaning they attach to it. It's not the rejection, it's what you tell yourself after it. It's not the challenge, it's the emotion you let control you in that challenge. Every day, something happens that tries to grab your emotions. Somebody says something that offends you. Plans don't go your way. You get disappointed, frustrated, scared. And if you're not conscious in that moment, your emotions take the wheel, and suddenly your whole day, your whole mood, your whole energy is being driven by something you could have taken control of. But here's the truth, emotions are not bad. They're not your enemy. They're signals. They're messengers trying to tell you something. Fear is trying to protect you. Anger is trying to energize you. Sadness is trying to make you slow down and reflect. The problem is not the emotion. The problem is when you let that emotion become you. You are not your fear. You're the one experiencing it. You're not your anger. You're the one feeling it. And the moment you realize that, everything changes. Because what happens when you believe you are your emotions? You react. You say things you don't mean. You make decisions you regret. You push people away who are trying to help you. You sabotage opportunities because you were too caught up in what you felt in the moment. But when you create that small gap between what you feel and what you do, you gain freedom. Let me tell you something. The distance between your emotion and your response is the measure of your personal power. The bigger that gap, the stronger you are. Anyone can be happy when life is easy. Anyone can be calm when things go their way. But the real strength, the real growth, comes when you can feel the storm inside you and still steer the ship. That's what emotional control is. Not suppression, not pretending everything's fine, but recognizing, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now. It doesn't have to define my next move. Imagine this, someone cuts you off in traffic. You feel that instant rush, anger, irritation, frustration. Most people react automatically. They yell, they honk. They let that one moment poison the next 20 minutes of their day. But if you take just one breath and ask, what's really happening here? You take back control. You can't control the other driver. You can control the meaning you give that moment. Maybe they're in a hurry, maybe they're careless, but you don't need to carry their chaos into your peace. That's what it means to be in command of your emotions. To choose your response, no matter the circumstance. When something hits you hard, when life throws something unexpected, the first reaction is emotional. That's human. But the second is intentional. That's leadership. And that's where transformation happens. Here's what I want you to understand. Emotions are energy. They're not good or bad. They're just movement. You can't stop them from showing up, but you can decide what to do with them. You can let fear paralyze you, or you can turn it into focus. You can let anger destroy connection, or you can use that energy to create change. The emotion isn't the problem, the direction is. When you learn to observe your emotions instead of identifying with them, you gain the power to redirect them. You can say, I feel fear, but I'm going to move anyway. I feel doubt, but I'm going to take one more step. That's courage. Courage isn't the absence of emotion, it's action in spite of it. Most people spend their lives waiting to feel ready before they act. They want to wait until the fear is gone, until they feel certain, until the timing is perfect. But that day never comes. The only way to master your emotions is to act through them. Every time you do something, even though you're afraid, you weaken fear's grip on your mind. Every time you stay calm when you used to explode, you're rewiring your emotional pattern. Every time you choose patience over reaction, you're teaching your brain who's in charge. You are. Think about your greatest moments of growth in life. They didn't come when you were comfortable, did they? They came when you were uncertain, scared, maybe even angry or lost. But you decided to stay conscious, to rise above the emotion instead of being consumed by it. That's emotional mastery. That's how you build character. So when those powerful emotions show up, and they will, don't fight them, acknowledge them, feel them fully, then ask yourself, what's the truth here? What's the next best action I can take from a place of strength? Not reaction. That one question can save you from days, weeks, even years of unnecessary pain you're never going to stop feeling. That's what makes you human. But you can stop being led by your feelings. You can stop giving temporary emotions permanent power, because emotions are like weather, they pass. But if you make decisions in the middle of the storm, you often regret them once the sky clears. When you learn to pause before reacting, to breathe before speaking, to think before deciding, you stop being a slave to your emotions and start becoming the master of your mind. You start living by choice, not by impulse. And when you reach that point, your emotions no longer control your direction. You don't just change how you feel, you change how you live. Every single one of us lives according to the stories we tell ourselves. You have a story about who you are, what you're capable of, what's possible for you, and that story is shaping your life far more than your circumstances ever could. If you want to change your life, you have to change the story you're living by. Because underneath every habit, every reaction, every choice, there's a belief. And those beliefs are either lifting you up or holding you hostage. You see, most people never question their beliefs. They just assume what they've been told, what they've experienced, what they've failed at. That's the truth. I've always been shy. I'm not good with money. Relationships never work out for me. They repeat these things for so long that they become part of their identity. They don't even notice that what they're saying isn't a fact. It's a story. And that story is programming their mind, directing their emotions, dictating their actions, and ultimately determining their destiny. The human mind is an extraordinary machine. Once it accepts a belief, it begins searching for evidence to support it. That's how powerful you are. You can literally convince yourself of anything. If you believe you're not enough, you'll unconsciously find ways to prove it right. You'll hesitate. You'll hold back. You'll sabotage opportunities that could change everything because you're broken, but because your mind is simply following the instructions you've given it. But if you reprogram that belief to something empowering, if you truly begin to believe you're capable, resourceful, worthy, your mind will find evidence for that too. It will start helping you win instead of protecting you from trying. That's why awareness is the starting point of transformation. You've got to become aware of the stories you're telling yourself. Next time you say, I can't, stop and ask, who told me that? The next time you think, I always fail, ask, when did I decide that was true? You'll realize most of the beliefs that limit you were never yours to begin with. They came from someone else, your parents, teachers, friends, or society. You just accepted them because you didn't know you had a choice, but you do. You can choose again. You can rewrite the script. Reprogramming your beliefs doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing a more empowered interpretation of what's true. Maybe your past wasn't easy. Maybe you were rejected, overlooked, or told you'd never make it. You can hold on to that pain and let it define you. Or you can look at it and say, that experience made me stronger. It gave me grit. It taught me resilience. Same event, completely different belief. And that new belief unlocks new possibilities. Let me give you a real example. Think about a time in your life when you failed at something important, something that really hurt. Most people replay that memory over and over, using it as proof that they're not capable. I tried and it didn't work. So why bother? But what if you looked at that same failure and said, that was my training ground. That's where I learned what doesn't work. That's where I discovered how badly I want this. When you change the meaning, the power of that moment transforms and no longer defines your limitations. It fuels your comeback. Beliefs aren't built in a day. They're built through repetition. Every time you think a thought, you're strengthening a neural pathway in your brain. So if you've spent years feeding your mind with doubt, it's not going to flip overnight. You've got to replace the old patterns with new ones, consciously, consistently. Start feeding your mind with the beliefs you want to live by. Tell yourself every day, I'm capable of learning. I'm built for growth. I can figure things out. I am not my past. The more you repeat it, the more your brain accepts it as truth. And you don't need to wait for proof before you believe it. Belief comes first, the results follow. That's what faith is, not wishful thinking, but certainty in the unseen. When you hold a belief long enough, your actions start to align with it. You'll show up differently. You'll take different risks. You'll speak differently. You'll attract different people. Before you know it, your external world starts to reflect your internal shift. That's how real change happens from the inside out. But I want to be real with you. It's not comfortable. Reprogramming your beliefs means challenging the identity you've built. And your mind doesn't like change, it likes familiarity. So it will fight you. It will whisper, this is fake. This isn't you. You've always been this way. That's the voice of your old programming trying to survive. Don't listen to it. Every time it speaks, remind yourself, that's my past talking, my potential. Keep reinforcing the truth until the new story becomes stronger than the old one. You can't control every event that happens to you, but you can control what you believe about it. You can decide that everything in your life is happening for you, not to you. You can decide that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but a creator of your future. The moment you make that decision, you stop reacting to life and start designing it. Because the truth is, your beliefs shape your identity, and your identity determines your destiny. If you believe you're someone who always struggles, you'll keep finding ways to struggle. If you believe you're someone who grows through challenges, you'll turn every obstacle into opportunity. It all starts inside your mind with what you choose to believe about who you are and what you're capable of. So if you want to change your life, stop trying to fix the outside world first. Go within. Rewrite the story. Choose beliefs that align with the life you want to create. Because when you change what you believe about yourself, you don't just change how you think, you change who you become. You know, people talk all the time about wanting to control their mind, wanting to think more positively to feel more in control of their life. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. You can't control your mind by wishing it. You control it by training it. Just like your body, your mind needs conditioning. You wouldn't expect to get strong by going to the gym once. You build muscle through repetition, through consistency, through showing up even when you don't feel like it. The same principle applies to your mind. Mental strength doesn't come from motivation. It comes from discipline. Every single day, your mind is being trained. The question is, who's training it? Is it you? Or is it your habits, your environment, emotions? Because if you're not intentionally conditioning your mind, life will do it for you. And life doesn't always have your best interests in mind. The media will train you to focus on fear. Society will train you to chase validation. Comfort will train you to stay small. If you don't take charge of your mental conditioning, you end up living by default instead of design. Training your mind starts with small, consistent rituals. Every morning, before you dive into the noise of the world, take control of your focus. Don't let the world decide how you feel. Decide it for yourself. When you wake up, instead of checking your phone or scrolling social media, take 5 minutes to center yourself. Focus on gratitude. Ask yourself, can I be thankful for right now? Gratitude rewires your brain. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, from what's wrong to what's right. That simple shift begins to condition your mind to see opportunity instead of problems. Next, feed your mind something empowering every day. Read something that expands you. Listen to something that challenges you. Don't leave your mental diet to chance. Because just like your body becomes what you eat, your mind becomes what you consume. You can't feed your brain with negativity and expect it to produce confidence. You can't constantly listen to gossip, fear, and doubt, then wonder why you feel anxious or unmotivated. You have to be intentional about what you allow in. Then there's the practice of focus. We live in a world that's constantly trying to distract you. Notifications, messages, noise. Focus is a muscle. Every time you pull your attention back to what matters, you strengthen it. When you train your focus, you train your power. One of the simplest ways to do that is through meditation, not in a religious sense, as a discipline of awareness. Just sitting still, observing your thoughts without reacting to them, teaches your mind that you are in charge, not the chatter in your head. Over time, this creates space between stimulus and response. In that space lies your freedom. Now, discipline isn't always exciting. It's not glamorous. It's not always fun, but it's the bridge between intention and transformation. You don't build a powerful mind when it's easy. You build it when it's hard. You build it when you wake up tired but still show up for yourself. You build it when you don't feel like meditating, but you sit down anyway. You build it when you want to complain but choose gratitude instead. Every time you do that, you're conditioning your mind to obey you, not your emotions. The greatest gift discipline gives you is freedom. People think discipline is restriction. It's not. Discipline is liberation. It's the ability to do what you decide needs to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Without discipline, you're a slave to your emotions. With it, you're free to build the life you want. The mind loves routine. It thrives on structure. The more you reinforce positive patterns, the more automatic they become. Eventually, the things that once felt hard become effortless because your mind has been trained to default to strength. Think about a professional athlete. They don't rise to the occasion. They fall to the level of their training. When the pressure is on, they don't have to think about what to do. Their body and mind already know because they've done it 1,000 times. The same applies to you. In moments of stress, you don't rise to your goals. You fall to your habits. That's why you must train your mind every single day. So that when life hits you hard, your response is automatic. You stay calm, focused, centered, because that's what you've conditioned yourself to be. There's also a deeper side to mental conditioning identity. Every time you follow through on a promise you make to yourself, even something small, you reinforce the belief that you can trust yourself. Every time you give up or break your word, you weaken that trust. Discipline isn't just about action, it's about identity. It's about proving to yourself over and over that you are someone who follows through, someone who doesn't quit when it's uncomfortable. And the beautiful thing is, it doesn't take massive changes, it takes consistency. 5 minutes of focus, a few moments of gratitude, one powerful decision to act despite fear. That's how you reshape your mind. Little by little, you rewire your patterns until strength becomes natural. When you train your mind daily, life stops controlling you. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop chasing motivation and start embodying mastery. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Because when you show up for yourself every day, even in small ways, something inside you shifts. You start realizing that control isn't something you find, it's something you build. And when you've built that mental muscle, your thoughts no longer dictate your actions, but your purpose does. Then you discover the ultimate truth. Discipline isn't punishment, it's the path to freedom. One of the most overlooked parts of mastering your mind is mastering the environment that feeds it. You can do all the mindset work in the world, read the books, listen to the audios, repeat the affirmations, but if you keep surrounding yourself with energy that drains you, with people who doubt you, with noise that fills you with fear and negativity, it's like trying to plant a seed in poison soil. Your environment matters more than you think. It's shaping your thoughts, your emotions, and your standards every single day, often without you realizing it. You've got to understand something. Your mind is always absorbing. It's taking in information, sounds, emotions, energy, everything around you. And whatever you expose it to consistently becomes familiar. Familiar becomes comfortable. And what's comfortable becomes your identity. If you spend most of your time around people who complain, who blame, Play small, you'll start doing it too, not because you want to, but because that's what feels normal. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who challenge you, who expect more from you, who talk about vision, growth, possibility, you rise to meet that energy. We adapt to the environments we live in. That's human nature. So the real question is, who's influencing you right now? Who are you letting speak into your life? You might say, well, really have negative people around me. Okay, maybe not in person, but what about online? What about the content you're consuming, the music you listen to, the shows you watch, the posts you scroll through every day? Those are voices too. They're shaping the way you think, the way you feel, the way you see yourself. You can't fill your mind with chaos and expect peace. You can't feed it constant fear and expect confidence. You've got to protect your mental space like your life depends on it, because it does. Your environment either fuels your vision or feeds your doubt. It's either pushing you closer to your potential or pulling you away from it. If you want to truly control your mind, you've got to take control of what you allow around it. That means setting boundaries, not from a place of ego, but from a place of self-respect. There are people who love you. They'll talk you out of your dreams because they can't see it for themselves. You've got to stop seeking approval from people who are afraid to grow. It's not their job to believe in your vision. It's yours. And listen, I'm not saying you have to cut everyone out of your life. I'm saying you need to be intentional about who gets your energy. There's a difference between spending time with someone and being influenced by them. You can love someone deeply and still limit how much time you spend in their energy if it's holding you back. You can care about people without letting their limitations become yours. That's what emotional maturity looks like, loving others while protecting your own growth. Now, your physical environment matters too. Look around your space right now. Is it inspiring you? Is it helping you think clearly, feel energized, stay focused? Is it cluttered, draining, chaotic because your external world reflects your internal world? If your space is a mess, it's often a reflection of mental clutter. When you clean it up, organize it, make it a place that supports your goals, you feel different. You move differently. That's not coincidence. That's energy. When your environment is in order, your mind feels more in control. But the most powerful environment of all is your inner circle, the people you choose to walk with, you spending the most time with, because proximity is power. If you're around people who are growing, who are disciplined, who are pushing beyond comfort, you'll start thinking like that too. If you're around people who constantly make excuses, settle, who gossip, you'll start lowering your standards to fit in. That's how influence works. You don't even realize it's happening until you wake up one day wondering why you stopped believing in yourself. So take inventory. Ask yourself, around me brings out my best? Who drains my energy? What environments make me feel alive, focused, and stoppable? And which ones make me feel stuck, small, or doubtful? Be honest with yourself. Then make changes. Start spending more time in places that elevate you. Listen to voices that inspire you. Engage in conversations that stretch your thinking. Because every time you do, you're programming your mind for strength instead of scarcity. You surround yourself with growth-minded people. Something incredible happens. You stop shrinking. You stop questioning if you're capable because you see others doing it. You start raising your standards naturally because you don't want to be the one falling behind. Energy is contagious. Passion is contagious. Confidence is contagious. And when you're in an environment full of that kind of energy, it's impossible to stay the same. And here's something important to remember. Sometimes you have to create the environment you need. Maybe you don't have supportive people around you yet. Maybe you're surrounded by negativity and you can't just leave. Then you create your own circle mentally. You read books that build you. You listen to voices that lift you. You visualize the future you're working toward every single day until it becomes real in your mind, because the most powerful environment is the one you build inside yourself. When you make your inner world stronger than your outer world, nothing can stop you. When you take command of your environment, both the physical and emotional, you begin to notice something shift. The noise quiets down. The negativity loses its grip. You start feeling lighter, clearer, more in control. You start to realize that controlling your mind isn't just about what happens inside you. It's about what you choose to allow around you. And when your environment begins to reflect your vision, everything around you aligns with who you're becoming. Your life begins to rise to the level of your standards. There's one final truth I want you to really feel, because it's the difference between thinking you're in control and actually living in control. Your body and your mind are inseparable. The state of your body directly affects the state of your mind. Most people underestimate this because they think controlling your life is all about thinking differently or planning smarter. But the reality is your physiology drives your psychology more than you realize. How you carry yourself, how you breathe, way you move, these are the levers to your mental state. And when you learn to control them, you don't just feel better, you perform better, think clearer, and take bigger action than you ever thought possible. Think about it for a second. You feel down, exhausted, or defeated. What do you do with your body? You slump, you slow down, your chest closes, your head drops. And with that posture, with that energy, your mind mirrors it. You feel more helpless, less motivated, less capable. It's a cycle. Your mind and body feed each other, either lifting you or dragging you down. But the amazing thing is this works both ways. You can deliberately change your body and your mind will follow. Stand tall, lift your chest, take deep with energy and intention. Instantly, you feel a shift. Your mind becomes sharper, your confidence rises, and your capacity to handle challenges grows. And it's not just posture, it's motion, rhythm, and energy. Way you move carries meaning. Athletes understand this instinctively. Before a big game, they practice rituals, warm-ups, and movements that elevate their energy, their focus, their state of mind. They know that performance starts in the body before the mind takes over. You can do the same in life. If you're anxious or stressed, if fear is creeping in, take control of your physiology first. Move, breathe, change your posture. You can literally trick your mind into a different state by adjusting your body. Energy is contagious, and the energy you carry is the state you live in. Breathing is one of the simplest, most powerful tools to control your state. People breathe shallowly, unconsciously, letting stress dominate their system. But when you breathe deeply, fully, with intention, you activate a part of your nervous system that calms you, that centers you, that brings clarity. Inhale, expand. Exhale fully. Notice how your mind shifts. You go from reactive to responsive. You go from scattered to focused. Every breath you take is a chance to reset your internal state. The state you're in doesn't just affect your emotions. It affects your decisions, your confidence, your clarity, your ability to take massive action. All of it is dictated by the state of your body and mind together. That's why so many people fail to execute their potential. They wait for motivation, inspiration, or the perfect emotional state to show up, but it rarely comes. The truth is motivation follows motion. You don't wait to feel ready. You create readiness through your physiology, through energy, through action. Think about times in your life when you felt unstoppable, when you've been fully engaged, fully alive, fully present. Chances are, it wasn't just because of your thoughts. It was because your body was aligned with your mind. You were standing in your power, moving with purpose, breathing with focus, and your energy was carrying you forward. That's the key. You can choose that state and over until it becomes your default. And it's not just about yourself. It's about how you influence others too. When you carry energy, confidence, and presence, it changes everything around you. People respond to it, doors open, opportunities appear, connections deepen. State is contagious. Your energy sets the tone, and you can consciously choose the tone you want to bring into every situation. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. Your state is yours to command, and when you command it, everything else bends to your presence. You also need to understand that sustaining a peak state requires practice. Just like you wouldn't expect to be fit without exercise, you can't expect to stay in control without consciously managing your energy and physiology. You've got to move. You've got to breathe. You've got to stretch your mind and body daily. Tiny rituals repeated consistently create the foundation for unstoppable mental and emotional power. The more you practice controlling your state, the less life will control it for you. And here's the beauty of it. Mastering your state doesn't just change a moment, it changes a life. When you learn to control your physiology, you stop being a victim of circumstances. You stop being reactive to fear, doubt, or negativity. You step into the person you were meant to be, a person who creates their results, shapes their reality, and commands their destiny. State is the bridge between thought and action, between intention and performance, between potential and achievement. So every day, remember this: the way you carry yourself, the way you breathe, the energy you radiate, they are all tools at your disposal. You are not at the mercy of your emotions, your past, or your environment. You are the architect of your state. The state you cultivate will determine everything you create in your life. Because when you take command of your state, when your energy aligns with your purpose, when your body and mind move as one, you don't just change how you feel, you change the trajectory of your entire life.